So I don't even know if Zanette and Charles actually cry about Uncle Tom's situation, or if David and Margaret cry about Uncle Tom's situation. But it's something that has affected me on a weekly basis, if not a daily basis. This whole past winter and this past month, it's been a daily basis almost. Like, I'll have like 1 or 2 days in there where I'm not really crying, you know, because my Uncle Tom, he lost millions of dollars. A boat. He was a millionaire, so he pushed people away because he didn't know who he could trust. And then he finally got to the point where he needed, because he was elderly, he needed people around, and I was just told to leave him alone. So I left him alone, and I feel like I made the bad decision, you know, not because, you know, I missed out on a ranch or whatever, but like, he's a human, you know, like, humans need other people. And it's just something that hurts me is that I did that, you know, I did that to a person. You know, like whenever my grandma was overdosed on Xanax, I knew she was doing it for attention, and she had basically lost all bodily function. She couldn't move or anything. So she's just there with a look of terror on her face. She could have died. And I was, you know, this was 2014, 2015. I was so heartless because I knew she was doing it for attention. That's just the way she was. I was just like, okay, goodbye, Grandma. I'm going to work. And I just left her there. You know, and that's not how we're supposed to treat people. But it's just something I gotta reconcile on my own. You know, as you get older, you have a, not hopefully all the time, but you know, not all the time, you have a higher perspective on things, and want to do better. I see my mom getting older, and like moving to Midland was a great thing for me because it got me out of El Paso. Like, I look at my cousins and they're all on drugs, and like my whole family is very selfish. I don't know why, but and like we'll like, you know, believe in God and like, you know, the Bible and claim to be Christians or whatever, and then like you're ignoring like the main thing that Jesus said to do. He said, like, above all else, you know, love your neighbor as yourself, love your God. I forgot exactly the wording, but love your God above anything else, you know, and love people above anything else. And like, I do believe that there's a time where you have to, you know, have like a hands-off approach to love, or like harsh love. But there's also a difference between like that and being just like a straight up gig, which is like pretty much performing. And so I, in an effort to like distance myself from people, like now I don't really have anybody. I don't have anyone. I try to chase the things that I want, and I don't even know if I'll ever get those. I don't even know, like I'm in the Men of Action program, and I don't even know if I can do it 100%. Like, these guys are like, they've built up great networks of like models and photographers, and are advancing their career. And I only have like 2 hours a day to like really sit down and do something. And so like the whole last week, my 2 hours have been twiddling with the tone knobs, not even like writing music, which is it is a waste of time, like twiddling with the tone knobs to hear different sounds. And then like I would get like a backing track off of YouTube, because I've been playing guitar, and I get the backing track on YouTube and try to adjust my tone to to fit in with that backing track. And so it becomes a time suck. Like, I have like a ton of song ideas I would like to get down, but it's hard with all when you're chasing the different rabbit holes, like. And what I need to do is just record, just hit the record button and just record everything, which is ironically what I'm doing right now. I was like, there's never going to be a perfect time where, like, because I want to do a podcast, like there's never going to be a perfect time where I have enough time to do it. And so I'm like, okay, like right now my phone is on my steering wheel. I use Velcro because it helps me with the GPS and stuff like that. I just put it on my steering wheel, and that way I can just like look down like this, But so I'm trying to record, and I go down these rabbit holes of tone chasing and knob tweaking, and then like 10 hours go by. Not 10 hours, 2 hours go by, and like now I have to go to sleep, or like, because there's nothing to lean my back up against, and I don't know if it's because I have bad posture, because I'm fat. Like it just hurts my back after a while, just sitting there after a while. And so like just sitting there like hunched over working on my tone instead of writing music or recording the pieces that I already have, I get worn out, and then I gotta take a break like after an hour. I gotta figure out, because I have too much equipment. I have the equipment I need. I have all the equipment that I need. Finally, after years, I think from 2017 to now, I've been trying to like get all the equipment that I need. I have like couple different ways to record. I can use my MPC, my sampler. I can use my computer. I can use my Tascam, 24 track. I have several different multi-effects pedals that sound great. I have Bitwig. I don't need to use any additional plugins. Everything I can just save into the presets on the multi-effects, which cuts down on the memory usage on the computer. Because every time I throw on like the fancy special effects sounding stuff the Bitwig comes with, I forget what it's called, the Spectral Suite stuff, I get a lot of latency, and so I can't record it and play at the same time. Well, I could in some situations, but I can't record it and use the effects at the same time. So like for like real spacey effects, like where like the note is holding out like for a long time, and that's the thing. Like that's just like one instance where like it would be difficult to use it. But in like my head, I blow it up, and then that's like the reason that this is not gonna work. But it's just that one thing that's not gonna work. I've only been talking for 11 minutes. It feels like a lot more. And I'd like to, I've been working a lot. Like even guitar there's times when it's not fun and it's just working towards a goal, like trying to hurry up and get my ideas out as quick as possible. And one thing that's stuck out to me is from like Ty Lopez and JD Coffee. He talks about this. He's like, you gotta stop sometimes and just have fun, because he plays video games. JD Coffee, a lot of his podcasts are about video games, and that's something I'd like to do. I went and bought this laptop. It was like $1,000. I dumped like, probably more than $1,000 on video games on Steam. I don't even know how many games I have. I have at least 200. And it's Steam sucks, man. They get you with the sales. You're like, oh, $20 here, $20 there, this is $20, this is $20, and then before you know it, you have every game known to man and no money in your bank account. And then like Nintendo is even worse, because while they're like the hardware is not that expensive, it's fun, but like as a 40-year-old, you can only hold a handheld for so long, and it starts to hurt. It starts to hurt your wrist, it hurts your neck, it hurts your back. And then the games on like Nintendo games, they are never on sale. And so if you want to play the exclusives, you gotta buy their $60, $60 video game that has like really low fidelity. But for some reason, they make it more fun than most other games. I don't know. They're just good at what they do. So I've been dealing with that, trying to, instead of working all the time and rushing all the time, I also got to throw in, because Ty Lopez says the 3 pillars of success are health, wealth, and happiness. So you got to focus your time in all those areas. And most of my time just goes to work, just to making money, because I feel like I'm 40 years old. I only have like $2,000 saved up, if that, and I feel like I should have at least $10,000. And then not only that, I feel like my life is done. I feel like my life is over. It really, like, I still got a good 30 years before I got to slow down, probably, hopefully. Like, you know, it just depends on what happens with anything. So I'm trying to get more fun in stop and smell the roses a little bit more. And even like my job, like, so it's like 14 hours of driving, 12 to 14 hours of driving, or of work, 11 hours of driving, and then like a 10-hour break. And so the real way to make money in trucking is to you know, keep the wheels rolling, because if you stop for anything, it pushes you back farther. It pushes what you could have been done farther away from you. And so there, you know, there's stuff like, you know, truck maintenance, which you'll stop at a shop, and depending on which shop you stop at, like a mechanic shop, it could take up to like 5 hours for them to finally get to you, if you're lucky, you know. And I mean, there's a lot of them that, you know, they get you in right away, but you just never know, like, which one you're gonna stop at and how long it's gonna take. So this week I wasted. I couldn't really do anything about it, but it's time I could have been driving, like 6 hours waiting for the guy to come and switch trailers with me, because dispatch wanted us to switch loads for whatever. And like I try not to spend more than 11 hours in sleeper berth, and that's hard. So sleeper berth is like your break. Your sleeper berth means you are not sitting in the cockpit, you are not behind the wheel, you are in the bunk, in the sleeper bunk, basically is what that means. Because the minimum allowed is 10 hours. So there's a lot of dudes that will do, like, you know, 13 or 14 hours in the sleeper berth because they don't have to get to the next load, or because they have a timed appointment. Instead of like delivering the load early, they just deliver it on time, which I mean, 3 hours here and there, that's like, you know, after a week, like say 3 hours every day, that's at least 15 hours, you know. That's at least 15 hours that was like a whole day you could have used to make more money at the end of the day. But it gets rough, you know. It gets rough trying to keep the truck rolling all the time. Because you get, like me, I get into rush mode. I gotta rush to do this and rush to do that, because if I don't get these wheels rolling again, I'm gonna starve, or not even starve. I'm not gonna be able to save I'm not gonna get that, you know, $1,200 shiny check after all the taxes are taken out of, and Illinois gets their share. Fuck you, Illinois. I hate you.